What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, so I have a link to this article in the description below, so if you want to see it for yourself, please go check it out. I only got a couple minutes, so I'm just going to briefly go over this. My thoughts on this is Final Fantasy XIV coming to Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. I'm going to cover that in this article. My only speculation is if Microsoft and Square Enix make this announcement, we can be assured that if it's going to be announced, it's most likely going to be announced at E3. My speculation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into this. Final Fantasy XIV Online Boss talks potential Xbox and Nintendo versions, free-to-play. Switch not happening. So free-to-play Switch not going to happen. That's one. This was posted March 24th of 2019, this year. Okay, so Square Enix long-running MMO Final Fantasy XIV Online is currently only available on PlayStation 4 and PC. This is true. But the title could eventually come to Xbox and Nintendo platforms. Speaking to GameSpot from the Square Enix Japan offices today is Shinjuku game director and Naoki Yoshida said versions of the game are possible for Xbox and Nintendo systems. In fact, he said discussions with Microsoft and Nintendo as well as Google are currently underway. Now, we already knew that Google Stadia is going to be featuring this cross-platform, and Xbox has already made a deal with Nintendo for Xbox Live on Switch. So I look forward for Xbox to make this announcement, and Sony, is not going to, have any problems with it because of they're opening their doors finally, and it's not going to hurt Sony's, platform at all. As a multi-console player myself, I prefer the controller of the PlayStation and some of the features with PlayStation, but I like the interface on Xbox with that. So I'm more partial to PlayStation in some ways. So I have both platforms. So just a heads up. As he said in previous interviews, Yoshida stressed with GameSpot that Final Fantasy XIV needs to support cross-play to have its player base united and offered the best experience. That's currently possible on PS4 and PC, but not with other systems, which has presumably kept the game off Xbox and Nintendo systems so far. However, now that Sony, as well as Nintendo, is beginning to allow cross-play with competing platforms for games like Fortnite and Rocket League, it seems more than likely than ever that Final Fantasy XIV comes to new platforms. Nothing is certain at this stage, and Yoshida wouldn't be drawn too far into speculative conversation about where Final Fantasy XIV may be released someday. Talks with the platform holders has been going on. The fundamental philosophy with Final Fantasy XIV is we want it on labels with cross-platform play with any device, hardware possible, Yoshida said through a translator. So long as the regulations with the counterpart hardware companies, we can actually pass that, then the chance is quite high of Final Fantasy XIV coming to Xbox and Nintendo systems. So we're talking with Nintendo, Microsoft, and Google. Of course, we cannot say anything at the moment because we're still in negotiations. But once we have all the details, we can make an announcement and we can bring the news to everyone. We are currently negotiating with those platforms. So I'm going to leave it off with that. Yoshida, or Yoshi P, as the community likes to call him, says negotiations underway. Now, if negotiations do resolve, they're going to make this announcement pretty big. They're going to correlate, Microsoft, Nintendo, and of course, Square Enix. I can see them taking the stage at E3. A lot of game companies have pulled from E3. So for them to take step forward, and especially for Microsoft to take step forward with wanting to be the media behind cross-play moving forward, it's going to be huge. for Microsoft to make this announcement. And Square Enix is going to be there, of course. So I look for, if we're going to see any, if we're going to hear a yes, I look for E3 to be that announcement. Now, speculation on my part. Would it take them long to integrate these platforms? No. So if we get an E3 confirmation, hypothetically speaking, if we get an E3 confirmation, we can anticipate by the end of the year them implementing the transition. Okay? By the end of this year. So sometime between the fall and the winter, we would see the full integration take place. So long as negotiations go good. So this is where I want to leave this off. Do I see it coming? I personally can see this happening. It's very lucrative for all the companies moving forward. That's Microsoft, that's Nintendo, and that's Square Enix, and it's not going to hurt Sony whatsoever. So there you guys have it. My thoughts. Check the article out for yourself at GameSpot.com. The link is in the description below. It is written by Eddie Makuch. So once again, check it out. I hope this helps, and we'll see. And if also, shout out, if you want to also keep tuned to this news, please go check out Work to Game. Brian is keeping glued to this, so I hope this helps out. All right? Or Mr. Happy 1-8 something. So another good content creator for Final Fantasy. So there you guys have it. Once again, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. As always, thank you guys. Have a nice day.